I called off my engagement to my fiancée after she requested a break to explore her ex. I sold our house and disappeared. I called off my engagement to my fiancée after she requested a break to explore her ex. I sold our home and disappeared. Hello everyone, after what seems like an age, I, 27 male, felt it was time to talk about what has been going on with me lately. The trouble is, until recently, I thought I was marrying the love of my life, Tessa, 26 female. We'd been together for 4 years and, for the most part, I believed we were good. But now I'm sitting here, wondering why I hadn't seen this coming sooner. Tessa and I met at a birthday party, introduced by a mutual friend. She was funny, confident, and had a straightforward style that I liked. I dated before, but no one connected with me as she did. We connected instantly and moved in together after a year. Things felt natural, as if we were all on the same page regarding careers, marriage, and eventually starting a family. She was a freelance graphic designer, and I worked as a project manager for a technology company, so our schedules were somewhat comparable. Life was not flashy, but it was delightful. We had been talking about getting married for a while, but it wasn't until last year that I proposed. Nothing spectacular, just a regular dinner at home for the two of us. Tessa appears thrilled. She cried, hugged me, and consented. That night, we began to plan our future, a fall wedding with a small guest list and this gorgeous lakeside location. It appeared that everything was coming into place, or so I thought. The earliest red flags were little and visible. They were little issues that I overlooked since I didn't want to overthink. For example, Tessa's passion for wedding planning waned after a few months. She was all in at first, sending me Pinterest boards, looking through wedding gowns, and inquiring about minor matters like whether I wanted tulips or roses for the centerpiece. But then it abruptly ceased. I'd ask her stuff like, "Hey, have you chosen your bridesmaids yet?" And she'd blow them off. "Not yet, I'm still thinking about it," she repeated. The same thing happened with her outfit, cake, and music. Every decision we'd been so excited about had become something she wished to postpone. "There's still time," she'd explain. The wedding seemed like an afterthought. At the time, I told myself it was just stress. Wedding planning can be overwhelming, right? Furthermore, Tessa had a lot going on at work. I expected her to snap out of it eventually. What I didn't know was that her lack of enthusiasm was not for the wedding, but for us. The actual slap in the face occurred one night when we were out with some friends. Someone mentioned the idiotic TikTok game, which you've probably seen. It's the one where you have to answer personal inquiries with a straight face and avoid passing judgment. Everything was going well until someone asked, if you could relive one relationship, which would it be? Tessa said without hesitation. "Oh, probably Dylan." Just like that. Dylan. Her college ex. The one who cheated on her. The moment she said that, the room went awkwardly quiet. She chuckled sheepishly and tried to backtrack, saying, not that I'd want to. It's just a significant element of my past. I wanted to confront her right there, but we were among friends, so I let it go. Later, when we were alone, I asked her about it. "What was it about Dylan? Why did you decide to revisit that relationship?" She just shrugged it off as if it were no big deal. "That was a silly game, Liam. Don't take it too seriously," she said, changing the subject. I didn't pursue it since I didn't want to start a fight over something so little, but it lingered in my mind. After that, her conduct became more impossible to ignore. She was using her phone more frequently, scrolling through her texts with a sly little smile, and making vague excuses for why she couldn't hang out or why she would cancel arrangements at the last minute. "Oh, sorry, I just have a lot of work to catch up on tonight," she'd usually say. Alternatively, "I promised my mom I'd visit this weekend." The excuses were not particularly suspect, but they added up, and it appeared that I had become less of a priority. Then came Friday night, which altered everything. I arrived home from work early, eager to spend the evening with Tessa, hoping we could order in and binge-watch something, a quiet night. When I walked in, the mood looked strange. She was sitting on the couch, holding her laptop, but she wasn't working. She was staring at the screen, completely inattentive. "Hey, I'm home," I said softly, attempting to break the tension. "You're early," she replied, as if it was a bad thing. I brushed it off and went into the kitchen to start preparing dinner, but the silence in the home was suffocating. Normally, she'd ask how my day was or tell me about hers, but tonight, nothing. Finally, I looked around and inquired, "Is everything all right?" She closed her laptop and looked at me. "Actually, there's something I need to talk to you about." And my stomach plummeted. You know how you feel when you know something bad is about to happen but can't stop it? That was me, standing there like an idiot with a spatula in one hand. I approached and sat across from her. All right, I replied. What's going on? She paused, as if struggling to find the right words. She just came out with it. I've been thinking about us, and about Dylan. I swear, I almost laughed. Dylan? Are you serious? What about him? She bit her lip and averted my sight. I suppose I need some time to consider things through. I'd like to take a break and see whether there's still something there with him. I couldn't believe what I'd heard. Do you want to take a break and date your ex? Are you out of your mind, Tessa? We've got engaged? It's not like that, she said quickly, as if she could smooth things up. I just want to know whether I'm making the correct choice with you. And if it doesn't work out, I promise to return. That's when I realized how arrogant she was. She believed I'd sit around and wait for her to decide if I was good enough. I didn't yell or blow up. Instead, I sat there staring at her, wondering how I hadn't seen this coming. I wasn't sure how to respond at first. My fiancée recently informed me that she wants to take a break to explore things with her ex and Dylan. What can you say to that? Finally, I inquired. So, what does this break signify for you? My voice sounded more calm than I felt. She straightened up slightly, as if she were prepared for this conversation. I think we need some space to figure things out. I'll take some time to see if my feelings for Dylan are genuine, and you're allowed to think about us as well. I couldn't believe their arrogance. Wait, I answered, leaning closer. You're saying you need to date your ex, but I need to think about us? What kind of backward logic is that? Tessa sighed, as if I were being ridiculous. It's not that you did anything wrong, Liam. This is about me determining what I need. She appeared to have practiced this. The way she spoke, the way she avoided eye contact, it was as if she had already decided this was going to happen and just wanted me to accept it. You realize this sounds insane, right? I mumbled. You don't just put your fiancé on wait while you play what if with some guy who treats you like crap. Her expression stiffened, and I noticed for the first time how stubborn she could be. I am not asking for permission, Liam. I'm telling you what I need. That one landed differently. I wasn't just sad, I was angry, so I rose up and started pacing, hoping to calm myself down. So what, Tessa? You're just going to pack your bags and head over to Dylan's place? Is this your huge plan? No, she insisted. It's not like that. I'm not sure what it looks like yet, but I need clarity before moving forward. I owe it to myself to know I'm making the correct decision. Do you owe it to yourself? I asked, laughing cruelly. And what about what you owe me? Tessa, we're engaged. We're meant to be starting a life together, and now you're telling me you need to test drive your ex to make sure I'm good enough? I never said you weren't good enough, she continued, her voice rising. But if we're going to spend the rest of our lives together, I need to be sure. And right now I am not. That was it. She wasn't just interested in doing new things with Dylan, she was also unsure about me, even after 4 years together and all of our goals. It struck me all at once, she hadn't realized how terrible and stupid her request was, and she thought it was appropriate for me to just sit there while she figured out whatever stupidity was going through her head. I stopped pacing and peered at her. Do you know what? Sure, I replied, my tone flat. Take a break. She blinked, astonished at how quickly I agreed. Liam, I am not trying to hurt you. I just need space to figure things out. I nodded with a blank expression. All right, if that's all you need. She stopped, as if she expected me to argue or fight for her, and when I didn't, she rose up, took out her laptop, and whispered, I'll stay at my mother's for a while. This will not last forever. We'll discuss when I have some time. Okay, I responded simply. She looked at me, unsure how to respond, and then disappeared into the bedroom, where I could hear her moving around and throwing things into a bag. I remained calm on the couch, but my thoughts were already racing. If she genuinely needs a break, that's okay, let her have it. Several minutes later, I heard the front door close, and she was gone, possibly thinking she had abandoned me here to wait and worry. She had no idea I wasn't going to sit around and do nothing. She could have her fantasy, but I had other plans, and I'll provide an update once I've put certain things in motion. This isn't going to end the way she expects. Update 1. Thank you for your comments and recommendations on my previous post. A lot has happened this week, and I'd like to share how things are progressing. First and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone in this community for their tremendous support. Many of you said that I don't just sit around waiting, and you were accurate. I've been busy putting things into action. First, I contacted Noah, my best buddy since college, and he is not the type of man to sugarcoat things. After hearing the whole story, he brought over pizza, and we spent the entire night plotting. Dude, You know she'll attempt to crawl back if things don't work out with Dylan, right? Noah reminded him. Of course, he was accurate, and the more we talked, the clearer it became that I needed to take action. This wasn't about vengeance, it was about restoring control of my life. I began with the house. Tessa doesn't seem to remember that it's totally in my name, and she loves to behave as if it's our home, always talking about the curtains and paint colors she chose, despite the fact that I pay the mortgage. I called a realtor first thing Monday morning, and we decided to list it right away. The market in our neighborhood is now hot, and we already have several potential buyers. Tessa has no idea. She probably thinks I'm sitting here in our shared home, waiting for her to sort out her feelings. The second stage was to gently remove her from my life. Remember those live, laugh, love posters she insisted on putting up? They're gone. Did she really need those wonderful throw pillows? They're donated. Her clothing and personal belongings that she left behind? I carefully packaged them all up, but this is where I became strategic. Instead of simply dropping her belongings off at her mother's house or having her come fetch them, I hired a moving company, who took everything to her mother's house and left a brief note. This is your stuff. Good luck with Dylan. I realize some of you may think this is petty, but I disagree. I'm not being vindictive, I'm being efficient. She needed some space to think things through. She has it, literally. The most exciting moment occurred when common friends began asking questions. Instead of playing the victim or slandering her, I simply told the truth. Tessa felt she needed to discuss things with her ex before committing to marriage. I decided I deserved more than being someone's backup plan. You should see how people react to that. No drama, no accusations, just facts. It's incredible how quickly the story changes when you don't try to control it. I've also been making moves at work. I applied for a position at our West Coast office that I'd been thinking about for a long time. If the house sells, which seems likely, and I get this job, I'll be starting over on the other side of the nation. Tessa has attempted to contact me numerous times this week, first with humorous texts like, "Hope you're doing okay," and progressing to increasingly anxious messages once she realized I was actually making changes rather than merely waiting around. She was in a panic yesterday when her mother told her the boxes had arrived. "What are you doing? Why are you acting as if this is over?" I kept my response simple. "Because it's over, Tessa. You made your decision, and now I'll make mine." She started crying, stating that she only needed time to think things through, that I was being too hasty, and that this was not what she meant when she asked for a break. "What were you expecting?" I questioned her. "That I'd wait here like a faithful puppy while you test drove your ex? That is not how this works." "But what if I realize you are the one I want?" She was crying. "Then you'll have learned a valuable lesson about not taking people for granted," I explained before hanging up the phone. The strange thing is that I'm no longer upset. Instead, I feel freed. Every box I pack, every move I make feels like I'm reclaiming aspects of myself that I hadn't realized I'd given up. Noah came by again yesterday to help me pack the house, and he saw the shift in me. "You seem different," he said. "More focused?" He's right, I'm different. When Tessa initially expressed her willingness to pursue things with Dylan, I felt like my world was collapsing. Now I see it wasn't my world collapsing, but rather the false reality I'd been living in finally disintegrating. I have more ideas in the works, but I'll save them for the next post. For the time being, I'll just say this. Sometimes the best way to respond to someone treating you as an option is to remove yourself entirely from their list of alternatives. Stay tuned. This story hasn't concluded yet, and I have a feeling Tessa's break to sort things out isn't going to go as planned. Update 2. I appreciate all of the responses on my recent update. Things have escalated dramatically, and I'd like to explain how the situation has developed. Remember how I mentioned applying for the West Coast position? Well, I got it, and the timing couldn't be better. The house is under contract, with the closing scheduled for next month, but that's only the beginning. What's particularly interesting is how Tessa's Dylan exploration is unfolding. Through mutual connections, I discovered that their restored passion isn't quite the fairy tale she envisioned. It appears that 4 years haven't changed him much. He's still the untrustworthy guy who cheated on her in college. Tessa has sought to control the narrative on social media by spreading vague encouraging platitudes about finding yourself and following your heart. So I decided to play the same game, but with a twist. I wrote a single factual post. Update on my life. I'm excited to say that I've accepted a position in San Francisco. Sometimes when one door shuts, another opens. I'm looking forward to this new chapter. People congratulated me, inquired about the relocation, and, of course, asked about Tessa. I kept my responses simple and honest. We are no longer together. She wants to look into other choices, so I am doing the same. This sparked off a terrific chain reaction in our social circle. Remember those people who weren't sure about the situation? Watching me handle it with grace as Tessa shared cryptic relationship quotes completely transformed the environment. Sarah, 29 female, a mutual colleague in the computer business who used to refer many clients to Tessa, contacted me about Tessa's freelance design job, which is mostly reliant on referrals and networking. I need to know what happened, Sarah said while drinking a coffee. Tessa's telling people you're having a temporary separation to grow individually, but something feels off. I shared Sarah Tessa's note about wanting to date Dylan, and Sarah's expression said it all. She didn't believe it. By the end of the week, several potential clients had pushed back their projects with Tessa, not because I said anything bad, but because honestly, who wants to work with someone who takes commitment so lightly? Tessa sensed a difference, and her texts became more frequent and agitated. Why are you telling others about Dylan? You are damaging my reputation. This is not fair. I simply needed time to consider. I replied to the last question. You got what you wanted, time and space. How I spend mine is no longer your concern. The turning point came when Dylan, in his infinite wisdom, published a photo of them together in the restaurant where Tessa and I had our first date. It was clear she was attempting to recreate our history with him, which was both sad and humorous. The post didn't stay long, but the damage was done. Our acquaintances witnessed it, and the few people who still believed Tessa's finding myself story lost regard for her. Even her own sister contacted me. I am really sorry for how she is taking this. You deserve better? What was the most fulfilling aspect? I didn't have to be vengeful. I simply lived my life freely and honestly, whereas Tessa tried to play both sides. The truth has a way of coming out. She came to my office yesterday, and Dylan seemed to have already shown his true colors, flirting with other women, being untrustworthy, a common narrative. She was crying. I made a tremendous mistake, she cried. I was afraid of commitment. I assumed I needed to know if there was anything better out there, but I was mistaken. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. I merely looked at her calmly. No, Tessa. The nicest thing that ever occurred to me was when you revealed your true colors before we married. She tried to argue, saying that we could solve it, that she would go to counseling, and that she would prove she could be trusted again, but I simply shook my head. You don't understand, do you? This isn't about Dylan anymore. This is about you thinking you can keep me as a backup while you consider your options. That's not love, it's convenience. She left my office distraught, but I was feeling better than ever. The house closes next week, the majority of my stuff has been packed, and my new life in San Francisco begins in a month. The funny thing is that some people think I'm being overly tough. Everyone makes mistakes, they explain, but this was not a mistake, it was a choice. Every time she texted Dylan, she lied about where she was, and she spent every second planning to put our romance on hold. These were all options. I'll send another update after the move is over, but in the meanwhile, I'll leave you with this. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even, but rather getting better, which is precisely what I'm doing. Next update. Update 3. Thank you for following my voyage. This is my final post, and I have some fascinating happenings to tell. San Francisco is everything I dreamed it would be. My new apartment has a breathtaking view of the bay, the tech environment is amazing, and my new office team is fantastic. It's nice to be around people that value progress and creativity over drama. But first, let me catch you up on how things ended back home. The closing went smoothly, and the house actually sold for more than the asking price. It was interesting to see Tessa's reaction after finding out through mutual friends, as she didn't believe I'd sold the house until she drove by and saw the new owners move in. Here's where things got really interesting. Remember Dylan? He reached out to me, of all people, and sent me a long note explaining how he never wanted to cause difficulties and that Tessa had approached him first, months before she sought the break. Tessa had been planning her little exploration for quite some time. She had been messaging Dylan for months, carefully laying the groundwork for her backup strategy. What's with the irony? Dylan ended their relationship because, as he put it, if she could do this to you, she could do it to anyone. Tessa's career repercussions have been enormous. Remember all the clients she'd lined up? The majority of them found other designers, not because I said anything, but because word spreads in the industry. One of her largest clients really contacted me. We heard what happened with the engagement, they explained. We're searching for someone who can commit to long-term initiatives. Do you know any reliable designers? I recommended a skilled acquaintance of mine, and she was awarded the contract. Karma, I suppose. Tessa's social media collapse was a sight to behold, beginning with somber quotes about losing your sweetheart and progressing to angry messages about toxic people who can't handle growth. Finally, she made desperate attempts to show everyone how happy she was. The last one was extremely interesting. She wrote about starting her own design firm, and 3 days later, she started sending out job applications. Her sister contacted me again last week, indicating that Tessa has been staying with their parents and that she needs time to heal after their split. She truly expected you to wait for her. When you sold the house and moved, her ideal was entirely shattered. The most encouraging moment came during a video conversation with our old buddy group, when someone mentioned seeing Tessa at a coffee shop, explaining to a potential customer why her portfolio website was down. Apparently, she forgot that I was the one who set it up and maintained it, and when her hosting membership ended, she couldn't figure out how to reinstate it, which is no longer my responsibility. My new life is coming together wonderfully. I've joined a local rock climbing club, started taking Spanish classes, and even adopted a dog from a local shelter named Zeus, who is a better friend than my ex-fiancée. Last week, I was invited to speak at a developer conference, which would not have happened if I had stayed at home. It's incredible what you can accomplish when you're not lugging dead weight. The tech community here is quite welcoming. I had one last interaction with Tessa. She sent me an email demanding some old photographs from our shared cloud storage, which I had already deleted and canceled several weeks ago. Her email said, "I understand you're attempting to eliminate me from your life, but you can't simply delete our memories." Those 4 years meant something. My response was simple. You're correct. Those years taught me what I don't want from a spouse. Thank you for the lesson. Some common acquaintances think I'm being very harsh and should be more understanding of her moment of confusion. However, it wasn't a moment. It was a deliberate decision to keep me as a safety net while she sought what she saw as a better alternative. What is the most significant thing I've learned from all of this? Sometimes the worst things that happen to you result in the best outcomes. If Tessa hadn't showed her true colors, I may have married her, only to discover her true personality years later, possibly with children in the mix. Instead, I'm in a gorgeous city with a wonderful job, making new friends, and feeling positive about the future. The sorrow of betrayal has been replaced with gratitude for avoiding a gunshot. Thank you to everyone who has followed the tale and given advice. Your support has helped me stay strong when I may have wavered. And for anyone going through a similar circumstance, know this. When someone shows you who they are, believe them right away. Don't wait for them to change their opinion about you. Life is too short to be someone's backup plan. Sometimes the best thing you can do is take a step back and improve your own situation. That's it for now, guys. This chapter of my life has officially concluded, and I can't wait for the next one to begin. Take care, and many thanks for everything.
Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.